start the show for the segment looking at that result from Nigeria's north-central state of Kwara, where Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of the All Progressives Congress has just been declared the winner of the governorship election, polling 331,546,000 votes. And that's a big major upset in that state that has been with the opposition, the People's Democratic Party. I'm Sulaiman Ali, and I'm now being joined to look at the results just been released and a couple of other issues on this election by Wale Ogwade. He's the convener of the Voters Awareness, and of course Lai Omotola. He also joins me to look at all this. Gentlemen, good to have both of you with me in the studios on Nigeria Votes. Now, looking at that result, we all watched it, and let me start with you, Lai Omotola. You've been following developments, looking at what has led to this in Kwara State. Did you see this coming?
Definitely. It was very difficult for PDP to obtain the results, seeing what happened in the presidential election when we were saying 3-1. And then today again, the sequence has followed in 3-1 that we'll continue to see. Now, in the presidential election, we saw the margin, and I think PDP was saying then that it does not reflect the true position of voters. But today, what we see in Kwara is that it was a peaceful election, and all the voters came out en masse to make their position known. And kudos to APC. They've done very well, and that is the end of the dynasty. Kwara people can now begin to look towards the future.
Well, I don't know about what future, but I know that someone has just emerged the winner. I'll come back to you so that you can tell me more about the, the dynamics of the politics in Kwara State. You have been following elections since 1999, and you and your group, I recall the last time we had our conversation, we were looking at, the awareness of voters as they move into the election. Did you see such kind of education and awareness, in that state of Kwara?
Obviously, Kwara is in the middle of Nigeria per se. The political sophistication up north is higher than that of the south. And I really appreciate their sophistication and the way they have carried out their activity. And I just want to quickly go to this popular adage that you can fool some of the people some of the time, which the political dynasty in Kwara really was doing. That's fooling all of the people all of the time. And of course, an end has come. And of course, to me, it may not be as a result of voter education, but just a protest against mismanagement, against oppression, against selfishness and greed on the part of that leadership. Anyone who has gone to Kwara State, and Ilorin particularly, will know that there is a far cry between what comes in as the revenue, both from the federal government and the internally generated revenue, vis-a-vis the development that we see on ground there. It's very appalling, and it's very, very, it is a short change of the people. And I really know, anybody who stands on the expressway here, you know that definitely most Kwarans come to Lagos on a regular basis, because most of them are traders. They come to Lagos on a regular basis. And on a regular basis, they see development in Lagos. And not only Kwara, all the states of the Federation come to Lagos. You see them going, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kano, you see their transport vehicle. People come. And of course, it's not about now, what's the big deal about Lagos that cannot be reenacted in other places? So maybe the wind has now moved. They now saw that, well, I guess it's time, and a movement just came up. And that movement now was catchy. And along the line, I've been discussing with some friends too, and from the grapevine,
friends in Kwara State?
Both in Kwara State and outside, but of course I have friends all in Kwara State.
No,
and one of the things
in
Kwara State,
okay, good.
And one of the things they said was that, look, the CCCT trial, the Code of Conduct Tribunal trial was again an eye-opener to them. If you remember, Saraki never said he did not own those properties that were mentioned. He was trying to use technicality. And to them, so you have this quantum of wealth and assets, and we are here.
Okay, but I think, gentlemen, I think let's now go to where the spotlight is on, specifically in Ilorin, Kwara State, where Ibrahim Alege is standing. Ibrahim, good to have you this moment. And if you look at the time, it's just 9 minutes before 5 o'clock. What's the atmosphere like in Ilorin, where you are at the moment?
Well, actually, we're inside the INEC office, but from here you can hear the noise of the people outside the premises of INEC. People are already jubilating. It's like what they have been waiting for. They had expected that this will come someday, and today that it has come, people are actually happy. Even within the INEC secretariat, of course, the party supporters, everybody here has been jubilating, and very soon we understand that the APC, the governor-elect, talking about Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, is going to address his supporters, and of course the media are also invited to cover this. So it's a lot of jubilation from the feelers we are getting from across the nooks and crannies of Kwara State.
Now, Ibrahim, one other thing that a lot of people have been saying, even my guests here in the studios, they're not surprised at the outcome of this result. Why do you think that is?
Well, people are not surprised. All they were waiting for is just for the confirmation of the results. Judging by what happened a fortnight ago, the party cleared the presidential election, and also all the National Assembly seats from Kwara State, 9 in total. APC, cleared everything. And today also, the party also cleared all the 24 House of Assembly seats, and as well the governorship election. So it's expected, really. If you allow me, the chairman of the party in Kwara State is actually with me here. Of course, he's in celebration mood. Mr. Chairman, people say that this is what everybody has been waiting for. Did you expect this to happen?
Of course, we expected it. I would say we expected it. We expected it because all along, even before now, the people of Kwara have actually given that sign. Don't forget, November 17, last year, that was when we had the by-election. And the people of Kwara actually used that to tell the ruling party in the state that they were no longer interested in them. That was why we won that election. And you should not, I should also remind you that on February 23rd, we won the presidential election. All the National Assembly seats too were also won by APC. I think those ones are enough size, and we knew by the grace of God before today that this one too will also be won by APC, and that has been confirmed by not only winning the governorship seat, all the 24 state assembly seats have also been cleared by APC.
I'm sure that the expectation of the people from your party is actually very high. How prepared is your party to take up the leadership of Kwara State?
You mean the expectation of Kwara people?
Yes.
Of course. We are, I want to say that we are very much prepared. And as it is now, we also go back to the drawing table because we know that we cannot afford to disappoint the people of Kwara.
We wish you all the best. You just heard from the chairman of the party, Bashir Bolarinwa, confirming what we said earlier, that this is the expectation of the people of the state, and the people have spoken, through their ballots, and that's why they are actually happy.
Well, Ibrahim, many thanks for speaking with us, and a good thing that you caught up with the chairman of the party there, and I'm hoping that we'll speak with you in the course of the program to actually update us on what it is like outside the INEC office, because I like to see what people feel when they hear results declared outside the INEC office. Many thanks, Ibrahim, for speaking with me now on the show. Well, Ibrahim Alege, TVC correspondent there. Pretty much later we'll be going to the newsroom. But again, you just heard what has just broke out of Kwara State. The news is that the All Progressives Congress candidate has won that governorship election. And according to Ibrahim, the State Assembly election has all been taken by the All Progressives Congress. By the way, the governor-elect Abdurrahman Abdurazak polled 331,546 to emerge winner of this election. Lion Motola, that's another one we got from Ibrahim there, saying that even the assembly seats, 24, all went to the APC.
Now that tells you that this is a total vote of no confidence on the former leadership from Kwara, and this is overwhelming. And when you have overwhelming result like this, it's very difficult for you to contest it because you don't have a close margin. Now, it's important for us to also look at it, that what happened to the former leadership? What are the factors that has led to this? Number one, leadership should not take people for granted. Leadership needs to be consistent. Integrity is very, very important. If the former leadership was in PDP, moved to APC, and moved that to PDP, you will see inconsistency. Now, in such a short time of movement, the leadership is going to find it difficult in addressing the people and telling them that, look, this is the reason we're reversing all the things we did 4 years ago. Now, the leadership also forgot that President Muhammadu Buhari popularity is even higher than the local leadership. They didn't take that into consideration, that the people are happy with the integrity and the personality of a Buhari government to lead them.
So you're talking about the Buhari effect now?
Exactly. It is important. You can't discount it, because in the presidential election, they came out to give him that vote, that they are comfortable with the leadership. Now, the local leadership didn't take that into cognizance. The second thing is the integrity of their local leadership. When the leadership said that the reason why they are leaving APC is because they spend so much money ensuring that APC comes to government, the leadership could not have taken up the DG campaign organization of Atiku when the house was burning. It took that for granted. So most of the time...
So you thought that was a misstep?
A big one, a big minus. You can't be on the campaign trail all over 36 states when your local politics is on fire and then you're not attending to the issues and you're taking it for granted that is going to be the same story at the end of the day. The voters have come out to say, never again will they be taken for granted. And you will see the same trend across the divide, when leadership, all of a sudden, will just move somewhere else. So that's what is happening here.
Okay, I think we'll take a moment, we'll come back, and we'll continue looking at what exactly is happening right here on Nigeria Votes.
Abdurrahman Abdurazak contested for the 2011 governorship election on the platform of the CPC. In 2015, he contested for the Kwara Central Senatorial District on the platform of the PDP against Bukola Saraki. He lost in both attempts, but made a lot of impact on the minds of his people. Over the years, he has clearly shown his love for helping the poor with scholarship schemes and various empowerment programs for the youth and women which he instituted. Abdurrahman Abdurazak is passionate about reshaping agriculture to create massive employment for all, particularly the youth, and also uses his network, both national and international, to create a productive enterprise in the state for the economy to grow, unlike what it is now. He also advocates local government autonomy, whereby the councils will be free from the control of the state government, a development, he said, had rendered the local government in the state redundant and unproductive. Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, in his program for a new Kwara, says it would make the education sector work by ensuring all secondary and primary schools in the state, including tertiary institutions, are fully equipped with standard facilities and the needed manpower. As a successful international businessman, he has completed strategies to stimulate the economy of the state by encouraging foreign investors with his contacts, thereby creating conducive environment for economy to boom in the state. The health sector is also critical to him as he plans to improve the standards in the hospitals across the state. Of particular interest to him are the residents who are 60 years and above, who he said would enjoy free packages from the state government. Abdulrazak has the next 4 years to write his name on the sands of history in Kwara State as a governor to ever be remembered. Omota Eshobito, TVC News.
That's a quick one there by Omotayo on the governor-elect of Nigeria's north central state of Kwara, who's just been declared the winner, polling 331,546,000 to emerge victorious. But that's, I still have Layo Motola and Wale Ogunade with me in the studios here. And I want us to look at, we'll talk about the dynasty you talked about in Kwara. We'll go back, but I want us to look at the report that just aired. And there's something specific I picked from that. We have seen politicians, when they lose election, they go into oblivion, they disappear out of the radar. You don't get to see them until when it's time for another election. But looking at that report, Abdulrazak Abdulrahman has always been there. He's been as constant as the Northern Star, even when he loses. Tell us how that works for people who come and they lose and they keep being in the mindset of the people, and how that ultimately will lead to victory, just as we've seen in Kwara State.
Obviously, people-oriented activities. To me, government is just a platform to do more. Those who are passionate about helping, definitely they do it outside government most of the time. So government, it will be a platform to go and for further outreach.
So you say it's more, a platform for more?
Yes, more. So, I mean, he is incapacitated with funds, as it were, with all we have. And of course, I've heard about him. And if not, for the mere fact that he is involved in philanthropy, that's general word now. Philanthropy, taking care of widows, ensuring that he involves the youth, and so on and so forth. Now, if he's in government, obviously he will direct the institutions of government and the machinery of government towards doing that. I saw, well, part of what he has written is that there will be youth empowerment. So instead of maybe tokenism now, maybe he will create centers, maybe he will create some crafts work, maybe he will bring out some master craftsmen who will train youths. Well, to God be the glory, Kwara is not a place that there are so many. They have an incident of almajiris as they have up north. So that can be a good plus for them to now see how they can escalate or use the raw power and population of the youth for the betterment of his government. And I want to believe that even that is a good one entirely. You see, if somebody is in government, or before he gets to government like this, the best thing is that he sits down and do all the calculation, how his government will move and will endear himself to the electorate. I'll quickly move away from the governor-elect to the chairman, Mr. Alaji, I guess it's Alaji Bolarinwa. He too is somebody who is a die in the wood. He's a politician. I've known him for some time now. Fortunately, he was the former chairman of the APC when Bukola Saraki came and joined them in APC. One way or the other, you know, politicians, they want to handle, to control the power, the party structure. So one way or the other, he muzzled the party structure from Bolarinwa. That one now left APC, went to PDP. So when Bukola Saraki again and his team came to PDP after their crossing over,
so he went back.
He went back to APC. And of course, his people followed him to APC. He too is what we call a grassroots politician. You see, he made a statement that they are going to ensure that they write their name in gold. And it's a big opportunity for them, because this is a dream that they have been dreaming, including the governor-elect. He too has been involved in contesting various posts. Now that he has gotten the opportunity, just as I said earlier on, it will be an opportunity for him to now write his name in gold by delivering. The only thing that he owes the posterity now is to write his name in gold, as my sister has said in the report, and to deliver. And there are so many opportunities. Monies that, how much? We sink boreholes in our houses. I know that with less than 200,000 naira, you sink a borehole. So why don't you now take it further? Because I know in a community, I can't remember now, they don't have water. In a community, I can't remember now, hey, where they have this Molete, they have the borehole has collapsed. Maybe the first thing he will do to make the students happy is to go to that place and ensure that water system is reactivated. Move around, roads. I know the Bodesado and Axis. There are several places.
We'll talk more about the agenda, looking at what his plans could be for education, for the economy, youth, and pretty much
infrastructural development.
Yes, development. I want us to look at that report also to see what we can actually glean from the report. Are there lessons there for politicians who have been in the spotlight, well, maybe since the emergence of this democracy in 1999?
Yes, indeed. There are a lot of lessons for us to learn, because having regard to the fact that this is a 40-year dynasty, a political dynasty for the past 40 years that has been uprooted and finally buried today. But for me,
you think it's buried?
I don't think it's buried.
It could be uprooted.
It could be uprooted. It could be uprooted. Today it's been uprooted.
No, let's sound African.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you tried to cut a plantain before?
Yes, it depends on how.
But to me, if he says buried, I'll go to the burial aspect.
To the Kwarians today, they believe that it's been buried today. But for me, politicians don't die easily. They just go out of season and they come back. Situation will bring them back.
So they hibernate.
So they hibernate, and in due seasons they'll come. But what are the lessons for us to learn from what has happened? Winning an election, we must consider 4 P's. The first one is the perception. The perception of the candidates. People want to see how did they perceive the person against a Saraki. And most of the time, they see this man as a man of integrity. And the perception to the leadership of, former leadership of Kwara is that these are people that have looted the common wealth of the people. The second one is the politics. Now, the politics is how well are you playing your politics? Okay, Saraki moved to PDP. Instead of us waiting there with him in PDP, let's migrate back to APC. If those people have waited in PDP, they won't have that victory today. So their political instincts told them, let's go back to APC, where he has abandoned. Let's go back to that platform and fight him from there. So for the first time, and in few occasions, they are fighting a political dynasty with the power of the incumbency. So there is the courage. There is that tenacity there. The second one, the third P, is your propaganda. The propaganda is Otoge. And Saraki could not find a response to Otoge. And the Otoge went in wildfire. Everybody started saying Otoge. Remember, in 2015, the propaganda was changed. And everybody was shouting, change, 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 change. Today is next level. So you need to get your propaganda well. You have to get it right. And the final one is your policy. What policy that is popular are you bringing to table? And that policy resonated with the people. And so the victory was very clear for APC, despite the fact that they were fighting with the Goliaths. But it was so clear because they got all the 4 Ps right. And it was just a matter of time for the Goliath to go down.
There's something I really want us to bring into all of this, and it has to do with the Buhari effect. I try as much as possible to study, you know, politics and, you know, some form of idealism in politics. Because looking at what he's highlighted, and you also, you know, corroborated that there's been some kind of movement back and forth. And looking at Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, he was in the CPC, meaning he came from the umbrella of the Buharis, who actually came to merge with the ACN at that point in time. And when we saw the chairman take that move back to the APC from the PDP, there must be something that is giving them that, you know, courage, and that, let's take this from your 4 Ps, that, you know, perception to say this could be it. What are those things, you know, that you think that is making this effect? Because if you going against an established political party, you come in as an opposition, you know, making this change that we have seen in Kwara State, there must be something different from what Abdurrahman, because he's not a newbie, he's tried it a few times and he's never been successful.
The thing that made it is the perception is about Saraki being an oppressor. The all elites in Kwara, particularly in Ilorin, see Saraki as an oppressor, and coming from...
It's a perception.
Yes, but again, that's how they hold it. And that's why I had him once. In fact, I wish that the Bolariwa can just call and say that's true. And maybe if had it been his phone-in program, somebody from Kwara will tell us that indeed it's true. I've had him one-on-one because I met with him. That's the Bolariwa. He said he can never be in the same political party again with Saraki because of what he had, the way he has oppressed them. To the hilt.
But again, politicians...
no, I'm going somewhere.
No, I'll let you land
because of that,
because I'm just...
You see, how I wish Saraki read the handwriting on the wall in 2017. I can't remember, maybe September or October, when he was pelted with water during the Eid festival. To me, that was the beginning. And I told my people, my friends are in London, it seems you want another political leader, Abi? They said, yes, that his time is gone, that they are no more interested in him. Right. So, not quite long after, the by-election came in the Federal House of Assembly, somewhere in Ilorin South, Kwara South, and of course, APC cleared it. I said, it seems you people are serious with this thing, you know. They say I've not seen anything. Immediately after, this Otega movement came up, and the Otega movement was a big wildfire that consumed. In fact, I've said it, and I want to repeat it again, that our professors of politics and, of course, history, because we activists too will sit down, really look at it that, but in simple terms, if any political leader disconnects with his people, definitely. You see the days of going and playing Amala politics, like Adedibu, or even that Baba Shola Solaki, that's the father of Bukola, was playing. Those days are over, that you call people who go to your house and they will be taking handouts. The way we see the voters now, the education is going up. Programs like this, the social media, education and awareness is increasing. People are now disenchanted. What people want, Nigerians are simple, easygoing people. What we want are these irreducible issues. Just give us good roads, make life comfortable for us. That's all. What made Muammar Gaddafi to stay long in Libya? Because it made life so easy for them. So they care less. Sometimes most of us activists and some people say, I don't care if a Northerner or an Ibibio man or a Kanuri man or whoever is the president of the country. All I want is that things are moving smoothly. Waiting concern me with overload. But if things are not working, then we'll now look at, particularly if the thing is tilting now, that I now see that my own people are shortchanged and your own people are getting it right.
Let me bring this before, I'll come back to you. Let me bring this to lie, because some would say from the word get-go, there seemed to be this, you know, opposition move against Bukola Saraki. I think it will seem as if the government at the center, because of what happened, because of the politics of the National Assembly, they moved all its arsenal to ensure that that took him out of the political, you know, spotlight. So is that what it is?
Yes, that also have an effect. Now, Dr. Bukola Saraki didn't get the narrative correctly. Right. You see, when you are at the National Assembly as the number 3 man, for the whole Nigeria will say, okay, Bukola Saraki may be doing something good because he's trying to do check and balance for the Buhari administration. The way the entire Nigeria view the Senate president is different from the way the Kwarans will view the action of the Senate president. Now, the narrative is different. How people from Abia State sees the Senate president is different from how the people in Kwara sees it. Now, they may be looking at Saraki from Abia State that is probably doing check and balance for the executive and is doing his job. But the narrative is different in Kwara. The Kwarans are saying it that this man is number 3 and they cannot see any infrastructure. This man is number 3, salaries are not being paid. This man is number 3, nothing has changed in Kwara. So what is he actually doing there? Now, his number 3 is also leaving the party that gave him that position and going to another party. And then he now wants Kwara to leave the mainstream politics. And then they said, no, we don't want to leave the mainstream politics. As far as we're concerned, the narrative is that Buhari would have done better without you. So that is the issue of the perception, that Buhari would have done better for the Kwarans if the leadership was not with Saraki.
Sorry, let me just, before you flies away, you still have the floor. The Kwarans have never been in opposition. They have always been in the mainstream. So wanting to take them to opposition, seeing the handwriting on the wall, obviously, he was just on his own.
So I want us to also look at, I'm trying to see if we can actually look at 2 individuals who went into this election and how well they performed or how badly they performed in this election. And we're talking about 2 friends here now who also made the move, because I'm wanting us to look at this now. In Kogi State, we saw Dino Melai, another man who's gone through a lot of, some, let's use the word out there on the street, persecution. Whether you right or wrong, that's the word people use. But it would seem as if as an underdog, the underdog effect, and the love of from his people gave him victory. So what's the difference between, I'll come to you now, Wale, what's the difference between what we saw in Kogi for Dino Melai and what we saw in Kwara for the Senate president?
Both punishment. Both the voters now telling us that, are telling them that they can't take them for a ride. The voters did not punish Dino. They punished Yahaya Bello. Yahaya Bello has failed them. And the Yahaya Bello, the people look at it the way Yahaya Bello, look at it now, the recall failed. They wanted to recall Dino.
So are we looking at, sorry, I'm coming, I'm trying for us to understand this. Are we looking at the individuals who are political members of such parties, if they're doing good, in office, it affects their political parties, gains.
Now.
And if they're doing badly, it also affects.
Obviously, we can't. My brother just got it right when he told you that the way Saraki.
Because I asked this because Yahaya Bello didn't go for the elections.
No, that's where I'm going. But let me just so that it matches. My brother was telling us that Saraki, the way he's perceived outside, is different from the way the people who are wearing the shoe perceive him. That this man, you have this position, instead of you to work, use it for our own benefit, you are there grandstanding to the extent that, for your information, Saraki dares not do that with Obasanjo. You know the number of Senate President Obasanjo used in local palace, Ewerem, Okadigbo, Nnamani, what's his name, Wabara. There's one again that Obasanjo ensured that they all left.
Even though that was pretty bad.
That
was very bad.
And meanwhile, it's very bad, but that's what, to show you that indeed Buhari is a gentleman who just overlooked him. He did himself with this of our reading.
He had no choice.
Don't forget, I love my brother.
He had no choice. He had to go, your lawyer, he had to go with the Constitution.
The Constitution, Obasanjo did not go with the Constitution.
That doesn't make him a hero.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just making a statement. I'm making a statement of what has happened.
I'm
a lawyer.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I'm also trying to.
I know what you're doing.
Watchers of history can also see that that doesn't make him good.
I want us to get the history of what has happened.
Go ahead.
So the people are looking at that. This man that ordinarily he ought not to have been the Senate president against all permutations of the party. He got there, and the man who allowed him, that's biting the finger that fed you. But again, leaving that, and all, he continued being intransigent. But now coming. The people now say, okay, if you think you are smart, we are going to punish you. They expected Buhari to do the punishment. But since he didn't do it, they left him and they punished him. So now coming back to your Dino, I just want to lay a foundation. For Dino, the people don't like Yahya Bello. I hope he's listening so that he quickly, before the next election, he quickly up it. They don't like him in Kogi. So particularly in Yagba, in Dino Milai's constituency, including Lokoja, because Dino represents the Lokoja with Kotonkarfi and all. He's not, if anybody is to tell them what to do, not Yahya Bello. Not. So you leave us, we'll deal with our son our own way. That's why the recall failed, and that's why now that they did all they could to ensure that obviously, Dino's victory is a surprise to many people. But to me, I knew that it can because I have interacted with the people in this place, and they say that is what they are going to do. They are not going to vote him out.
Maybe we'll say it's a surprise of few, not many, because because I saw him being...
Federal might can be used against him.
I think that would mean, you know, doing some illegal illegal acts.
I like you being the lawyer here.
No, we're trying to look at grassroots politics.
Yes.
So I'm picking it from where he left off and looking at what Senator Melaya did for his people. We saw him, he was a grassroots person. Exactly. And for those who are empiricists, to those say, I can see it, I can feel it, here it is. So what are those things do you think that a lot of other people can actually glean from what we've seen, especially in Kogi State?
Yes. Dino's victory was a political magic, and it's difficult to explain. But what is evident is that Dino gets the narrative well. In politics, propaganda is very, very important.
Very, very.
Now, anything happens to Dino, he will translate it to the people that I'm suffering because I'm trying to help you.
It's a fine place for us to stop there. I'll come back so that we can wrap up on that. We just have to take this quick one. I will be back shortly. Stay with us. It's 5:28 here in Lagos, Nigeria. If you're watching from outside the country, this is TVC Nigeria Votes, looking at the governorship and House of Assembly elections. And so far, just about less than an hour ago, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the results of Kwara State in Nigeria's north-central region, declaring the All Progressives Congress candidate the winner of that election, Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, polling 331,546 votes. And my guest have been Wale Ogwade, who's the convener of Voters Awareness, and of course Lai Omotole, a political scientist and analyst. Both of them have been looking at this result from Kwara State and vis-a-vis what it is like politics-wise in the country. And we're trying to look at what happened in February 23rd, where Nigeria had the presidential and the National Assembly election, and one of those winners in that election, Senator Dino Melaya, who's got just been re-elected. And we're trying to look at the kind of politics he played before coming in. But quickly, I think we have to go quickly to look at what is happening in Kwara State again.
The partial, the total, or the partial compliance level. Then, after that, if that is looked at and that test is passed, then we now look at it. The votes that you are complaining, that you have been shortchanged or so, what is your own total number of votes? What will I have gotten? let's look at it that when your own is either added and you what you think is gotten, can it make any difference to alter the total result as to now have us another leg of it, either to cancel the election or to have a rerun or to suspend the results? So it's not just something, we have passed that stage in Nigeria. Thank God. You see, it's not the time now that people think that, yeah, moonslide, or we'll just go to a place and cause wahala. And at the end of the day, people, no, we have passed that stage. We have added value to the electoral process. And because that is, and of course, we are even looking at all these problems now that have even arisen in this 2019 general election. And you can be sure by the grace of God. And I hope we have a listening ear in INEC, because we interface with them and we let them know that these are the challenges that we have on ground. And definitely, we must move forward. We can't continue like this. And there are several issues. Again, we will involve the National Assembly to ensure that indeed legislations are placed or are made to ensure that all these things are taken care of. Is it Nigeria, in Nigeria that you have election? Why is it that is in Nigeria now that after election that people start shouting, crying, and making noise? If you win in a place, oh, it is the will of the people. It is the voice of the people. But if you lose in a point, oh, the elections is rigged. Haba. Let us follow procedure and let us be decent for once.
Well, talking about decency, I think in some few minutes we'll be going into the newsroom. But very quickly, if we can speak more about cancellation, or rather what has happened in Rivers State, that there's been a suspension of election in that state in South Nigeria. What's your take on that?
What is happening in Rivers is sad, and it should be condemned in all ramifications. And again, is painting Nigeria in a very, very crude way. For a lot of us, we've envisaged that this was going to happen, because the two gladiators, they are never going to hold back. They would continue to push the frontiers, despite the fact that APC is not on the ballot sheet. Yet, we still find a lot of crises in Rivers State. And Rivers State in particular, we found out that a couple of years back, elections have always been inconclusive. It gets to a stage that INEC will not be able to complete election. And hearing today that the elections have been suspended is just what a lot of people have expected, because even before the elections, we've witnessed violence in different parts of Rivers. I do not know how INEC will finally resolve the issue of Rivers State, but I think that we must appeal to all major stakeholders in Rivers that election is not war, that the call to serve is not mandatory, it's voluntary. And the blood of any Nigerian is not worth any man's ambition. And the bloodletting in Rivers must stop. And enough is enough. It's getting too bad for Rivers. And we must appeal, we must coerce, and we must also condemn all the gladiators in Rivers that have turned Rivers State into a war zone.
Well, it hasn't actually moved into the area where we'll call it a war zone. But again, news from Rivers is that the elections there have been suspended. We're hoping to bring you update just after the news. You're watching Nigeria Votes, and just before now, the election from Kwara State has been declared, making Abdurrahman Abdurazak of the All Progressives Congress the winner in that election. After the news, we'll go straight to what is happening here in Lagos.